Hi, this is Don Binkley from Property Providers, and I hope everyone's well today. Today, I wanted to quickly talk about exclusivity and give you guys some information on that. Now, initially, you're going to think he's an agency guy; he doesn't want to work with other people, and that's not necessarily the case. So, I think that what's important is to kind of go through the issues for you guys to make a educated decision. So if start off as it relates to short-term rentals in Sydney, we've done over 5,000 bookings over the past 7 or 8 years. So I'd like to think that we know a little bit about what we're doing, and which is why you've hired us or why you're going to hire us, hopefully. So let's talk about exclusivity. Now, most of the time when an owner wants to engage another agency, it is a result of wanting to drive occupancy. And I guess the first thing to think about is the property is not worth being full if it's not with desired, with high caliber people. So I'll just put that out there right away. So when you have two different parties or two or three different agencies working with a property, the first issue that you have to worry about is the marketing of it. So this industry, the short-term rental industry, has gotten very, very complex from a channel management perspective over the last 5 years. There are niche channels, there are meta channels, there are channel managers. It's like where the property is marketed is complicated. So if you're going to have a couple agencies involved, I would make sure that it's very, very clear about who's marketing the property where. Because if a guest sees your property twice in the same channel, they will automatically think that this is a scam, and they will move on. And make no mistake, the customer has lots of choices, which is unfortunate. Or what they will do, particularly in the high-end space, is that they will play the agencies off each other. They'll use different dates and different names and what have you to try to get a better discount or better price or what have you, or they'll mystery shop you on one side and what have you. And my experience is that the owner, rarely wins through that. The second thing is about 50% of our bookings, the dates move. So somebody will lock it in and they'll want to move it they'll want to extend for a couple of days, or they'll have a trip that they organized we have complicated lives and busy lives, and people's plans change. So you need to accommodate that. So once you've done that, you need to think about, if you're going to have a number of agencies involved, you're going to double, quadruple, or potentially quadruple the communication. But then when you weave in my next point, which is about the operations, the cleaning, the linen, the housekeeping, the arrival, the departure, the keys, and it goes on and on. It just becomes really, really confusing when there's too many people involved. The third thing, which is really important to think about, is operational delivery and quality assurance and consistency. So it is just not smart to have agency A execute booking from a booking and an operational perspective, and then agency B come in and manage their booking end to end. What will inevitably happen is the second agency will end up cleaning up a bigger mess. They will be kind of, if there's any if there's any wear and tear or damage, the second agency will almost certainly be blamed for it. So from an operational delivery point of view, if you're going to have multiple agencies involved, one agency or you need to be in control of that operational delivery. It is just a gong show when there's too many people involved. Too many chiefs, not enough Indians, you know what I mean? The fourth thing that you need to think about is pricing and price parity. It's just not fair to have one agency price the property at one level, and another agency priced it at another. That's undercutting people, and it happens. And unfortunately, it happens without even you knowing it. Again, this is not a real estate and domain setup. There are so many different channels out there that, and the way people treat seasonality in terms of when high seasons start and stop and what have you, that they're almost inevitably gaining price parity is very, very difficult, especially in this space. So the customer will go to the cheapest price, right? Which totally makes sense. So price parity is something that really is very, very, very challenging in this space. We've talked about damage. The next one is imagery. So a lot of people think, okay, I'm going to go get the photography done and I own the photography. Unfortunately, you don't own the photography. We don't own the photography. The photographer owns the photography. So, and you are effectively buying, you and us are buying a license to that photography. So if another agency is using it in another channel, you're potentially unintentionally breaching copyright. Now, seems unfair, but sometimes fair ends in kindergarten, and we have seen some photographers get very, very aggressive as it relates to their imagery, even though you've bought it or bought the license to it, being used in a number of cases in a number of different places. And make no mistake, a lot of them have bought software that just troll the internet and are able to identify their images because they put a stamp on their images or what have you. I don't know, the fifth or sixth issue, I forget what number we're at, is the accounting. I have seen a few clients get really burned on this, and watch out. If you are going to, whatever agency you're dealing with, please make sure that they're in Australia, and make sure that they're licensed, and make sure that your money is held in trust in Australia. I can't emphasize that too much. And there are lots of businesses based up in New Zealand or in Asia, and you got to really, really watch out. The other thing is not only in Australia, but you have to really think about whether or not they're located in New South Wales, because the legislation and the regulation has jurisdiction. So I just say buyer beware in that space, and there has been a few people who've been burned that I know firsthand of. So watch out. And of course we're licensed and have trust accounts and audited and all that, right? Now, if you are, after all that, all those different particular, and the last thing I think you need to think about is now your work has just doubled. If you're dealing with two agencies, the communication is going to be double. So the chances of things not running smoothly has increased by 100%. So based on all that, if you're still like, I want to have more people working on my property, what's really, really, really important is that you look at these issues and you manage them upfront and with clarity, and you have two agencies that are willing to collaborate. And when I say willing, it's not because you're forcing them to collaborate. It is because they collaborate with other property. Like at the end of the day, the industry is consolidating quickly, and that will continue to happen at the grassroots. So just maybe ask your primary agency, who do you want to work with if there was another agency involved. If there's another agency involved, there really needs to be a primary and a secondary agency. And so the way we run it is that we will use that secondary agency as a channel. So the booking will come to us. We'll look at it in the entire picture, and then we'll communicate with the owner, and then we will pay the other agency a booking commission for the procurement and sourcing of that booking. so it won't cost you more money or time. Or vice versa, if we, in some cases, we'll be a booking agent ourselves. I don't really, you got to be careful when you get involved in the operations with somebody else's booking. And in some cases, not some cases, one or two cases, we've said, okay, look, we'll just be a booking agent on this property. We'll charge X percent, sales, marketing, finance, and we're out. So just think about that. So just to wrap up, there's a lot of issues here. We're not territorial. I'm all about partnership, driving results through, mutual respect, investment, risk, and reward. That's how we treat partners. I think that if you're going to get multiple people involved, make sure it's collaborative and not combative. And there are a few agencies out there that are not as mature and sophisticated as others, and I think you got to kind of read between the lines on that. And at the end of the day, my view is if you put the customer first, you'll always win. So I hope that I've been kind of clear as it relates to some of the issues around this. I don't like it. For certain properties, I won't do. We would respectfully decline that. Or if it's particular agencies, we'd respectfully decline that. I think that if you want to drive results, there are better ways of achieving that objective, and that is not just dropping price. So without further ado, I'll wrap this up because it's been 11 minutes. But hopefully, I've contained all the considerations in this one email. Thank you so much, and if you have any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to give me a ring. Cheers.